I was born in Utah, Alabama, and most people will have never heard of it. It's spelled with an E, E-U-T-A-W. And I am the 8th of 8 children. I had 4 brothers and 3 sisters. My parents were very protective of us as we were growing up, but being the youngest, I always had an opportunity to do a lot of things that the others didn't have the opportunity to do. My parents instilled education in us. It wasn't an option. We had to go to school, and we had to attend an institution of higher education, be it 4-year college or 2-year, or back then they had trade schools. So it was, I had a very interesting childhood. I started going to school with my sisters when I was able to walk and talk. So I learned how to tell time at an early age. I learned how to count and all of those things that most children didn't have the opportunity to do until they were much older. I attended Eatman High School, which is now called Greene County High School. Some refer to it as Utah High School. I attended school there from the time I was kindergarten through 12th grade. And I graduated #1 out of my class of maybe 26 of us, I think it was. So that was very, very memorable. And I did attend Parker High School for 1 year in Birmingham. I went to live with my sister. Her husband was working evenings, and my mother didn't want her to be home alone. So I had the opportunity to attend Parker. Well, it was very segregated, and we had the opportunity on the weekends to attend movies, and at that time you had the signs up for white only and for colored only, and we would always be able to go on the bus. A bus would pick the young people up on Saturday to take them to the movies. I attended sports activities, as I said, because all of my siblings are older than I, and that was an opportunity that I am so thankful today that I was able to do. My brother attended Stillman College, and on the weekends, I had an aunt that lived about 20 minutes from the campus, and I was able to go there and watch him play basketball. He played basketball and baseball. So all of the sports activities I was able to enjoy growing up. So people say to me now, well, oh, that's how you got to be a Buffalo Bills fan, because you're already into the mode of sports. And I'm very thankful for that. After graduating from school, I had a scholarship to Wilberforce University. However, with the scholastic scholarships, they were nothing compared to the athletics. So I had to take the option of going to California, living with a relative there, attending junior college, until my mother was able to get me into college. And my brother was still in college, and he spent money. He thought we were rich, and we were not. So he had no clue that I was not really able to go and do all the things that I needed to do as a freshman in college. So I went to Los Angeles City College for 2 years. And then my mother decided that I was quite a distance from my other siblings, and I ended up in Buffalo. And I continued my education here. There are several things that come to mind. I think about the Board of Education. I think about prior to being on the board, I was a teacher, and I was able to take my students, I taught special education and reading, but for my special education students, I had the opportunity of taking them to the Gow School. One student in particular, because he was dyslexic and needed a lot of help. But in taking him to the Gow School out in South Wales and being able to teach him the Orton-Gillingham Method for reading, that was, in my opinion, a great time in my life. However, when I finished, I left teaching and went into being an assistant principal. And there I was able to help teachers that were not quite certain of what teaching skills they had or what they needed to help make students successful. And after that, I was a supervisor of elementary teachers, which I had the opportunity to interview teachers to make sure they were suited for whatever grade levels we had available. And since that time, I have worked with teachers that I hired when I was in elementary education. And it's been most rewarding for me that I can see the growth in them. They not only teach in Buffalo, they teach in Williamsville. And I just talked with a teacher that I was able to hire when I was there, and she now works in Hamburg, which is a district that is predominantly white. With my background in, well, the diverse background that I had living in California and growing up in the South, my parents, going back to that, my parents had friends that were white, and we were able to go to their home and have dinner. They came to our home for dinner. So growing up, I had a lot of diversity, even though I lived in a segregated community. You know, and there were people that didn't like the idea that we were friends, but it didn't bother my parents, and it did not bother them at all. So, you know, building on the background that I had growing up helped me understand diversity, and just, as I said, seeing teachers that I have worked with over the years and being in communication with them has been most rewarding for me. As I said, growing up, I knew exactly how individuals felt growing up. Their backgrounds varied, and I was able to maneuver because I knew exactly what to expect from those that we were not friends with. So when I came, especially to Buffalo, when I was in California, I was so busy trying to make sure my grades were kept up because of the being in a college that was, I called it almost free because all you did was pay the monthly fee that was charged. I guess, you know, just being around people and you're thinking because we are of the same ethnicity that there is some understanding of things that I went through growing up that another individual might not have that same experience and background. So just dealing with people on that scale has been challenging because you get to the point you think, well, she should understand that. We've all gone through this. But when in essence, the other individual might not understand, I have difficulty I guess, in seeing minorities not try to help each other, you know, get into better positions, do better things that's going to enhance, you know, their living. I think about when I was on the board and I talked to you about being on the board, and that was successful. So later on, I talked to other minorities about stepping up, being on the board. And sometimes, you know, you'll hear people say, well, didn't you talk her into being on the board? Aren't you getting the type of service, or is she not producing the way you thought she would produce on the board? These are the kinds of things that, you know, you encounter and you think, well, everyone cannot do what the next person does. And the capabilities are always different because you look at another individual and think, well, she's educated, she's able to do X, Y, and Z, when in essence, you have to look a little deeper into individuals to understand what the capacity is there. Well, the first thing I would say to, and I have said to younger people, because I try to encourage younger people as much as I can, because they are our future. And if we don't tap into them when they're young, then we lose them. But I will say that don't be disappointed when you might be looked over for a position, or you don't get into the first college of your choice. Just keep plugging away and have it in the back of your mind as a young person that these are my goals, and I will not let anything stand in the way of my getting to where I need to be. However, along that same line, you have to be able to respect other individuals in positions that are of authority, and you have to find a way to get the things that you want without hurting other people. And you have to understand that everyone is not going to like you or agree with you, but you just keep it in your mind what your goals are. And you find a way to maneuver and get around that. Well, it's just that I enjoy life. Every day I get up, I thank God for life and for the day and for all the things that I have been able to do that a lot of people said that I would not be able to do, but I did it, and I did those things because I had goals set for myself.